Coming from the Caveman Studios in Buffalo, New York. Welcome to Caveman Corner with your host, Jeff.
Captain Caveman!
Thanks.
Click subscribe and the bell. Do it now!
All right, guys, we're here with Angelo Castricone, and hopefully we'll be joined by Charlie Anzalone in just a little bit. I was just talking in the green room with Mr. Castricone, and we had all these great stories going on, and I don't want to waste all the great stories in the green room. So we're just going to jump ahead and start talking because we talked about how long Mr. Castricone's been in the game. I started fighting in like 2004, 2005, seriously fighting. Before that, like we do like backyard fights and like every now and then, but like I've been in the community for a really long time. And as long as I've been fighting, Castricone's has been putting on kickboxing shows. And every show is pretty much the same. You go in, you know what you're going to get. Shows run well, good fights. The Castricone guys almost always win. There must be some good matchmaking or something going on. Like, I don't know what you got going on there. You do a really good job matching your guys. It's really good fun, entertainment. Probably everyone that's came through the Buffalo community has fought for you that's been a serious fighter. And you don't get a lot of credit for it. So I wanted to get you on the show. And I know you got another event coming on April 6th. So let's jump into that event, talk about it a little bit, the venue and how to get tickets, and turn the floor over to you right now.
Okay. Again, thank you for having me. I appreciate being on. Our show, April 6th, will be at 500 Pearl Street in the Forbes Theater. And the number that's on our site, the call for tickets, set up reservations. We do a general admission, VIP, ringside, and sponsorships. Anybody looking to get the name up on the posters, get the name mentioned throughout the night for our sponsors. We welcome sponsorships also.
Awesome. And then to get a sponsorship, what would we have to do, or what would they have to do? Just contact you, give you a call, or message you?
Yeah, give me a call. And what I do, I turn them over to Mac from 500 Pearl, and he sets up all the sponsorships, and he sets up all the tables. And basically what they get is they get a quart of liquor, they get a case of beer with their sponsorship. It's a table for 8. It's run well. I mean, they do a good job setting their room up for us, as we did the last show on November 18th. We're sold out. We had tremendous turnout. My youngest boy, Santino, he fought, which is a big draw anyway, so we had a real nice turnout, real good event.
Yeah, it was a great fight. The whole card was awesome. I had a guy on that card. Like the result wasn't great for us, but the venue was great. It was awesome being in that room. I felt like a movie star up there.
Yeah.
The waiting rooms are like these giant dining halls. So there's tables in there, but there's plenty of room to warm up, and it was just really cool. It was a cool environment, and then you go downstairs, and the seating is really cool in that venue. We talked about a little bit offline, but what does it seat, like 550, something like that, and then there's a standing room?
Yeah, exactly. Plus standing room.
Yeah, and it was sold out. There was not a place to sit, and it was an awesome show. It was loud because, like, it's a theater, so the seats come down on top of the ring. So when you're in there, it's a super cool environment. It was cool to corner there. I'm sure it was awesome to fight there. And I'm sure the crowd had a good time. Everyone that went from my gym thought it was a really cool venue.
Good. Yeah, the energy was incredible. You go to some venues and, just the energy isn't there. But, that place alone, our ring announcer, he gets people pumped up and primed up and, get the fighters ready. And it was just, like I say, it was just constant energy throughout the night, which was tremendous.
I can't say enough how cool that show was. We fought at the Lux. I've been there for your show at the Lux, I think. Did you have it at the Lux, or what was the other bar?
Yeah. We had it, Lux, what's it now? It was Lux, I forgot what it was. Yeah, we did probably 6 or 7 shows there, and that was a nice venue. But what happened was they had to wind up, the building inspectors came in, so you got to put a wall here for whatever reason, and that cut out a lot of floor space. I said, well, we can't do it here any longer. There's just not enough room to get the ring, but that was a good venue too.
Yeah, it's not too often that you get a promoter that cares more about the venue than how many seats they have. Usually you get these guys that try and get, doesn't even matter like how many people they fit in. They just get as many seats as they can, and they're like, here it is. Like, let's make the fights happen, and it's pretty cool.
My whole thing has been, as long as people come, they have a good time. It's a good event, good fights, good matchups. That's my biggest concern when I do my shows. More than how many people can I put in seats.
So, do you have a matchmaker, or
me?
Do you do all the matchmaking? So you're the matchmaker.
I'm the matchmaker, I'm the promoter. I'm the ring girl. Yeah, I do everything I could do to run the show.
I didn't see you doing any ring girls. But I want to see Carrie Card now. Now you talked about online. You might have to do this now. I might hold you to this. I'm
sure you will.
I still want to go into the event more, but I gotta ask you some questions. Like, I was surprised to hear that you're pushing 70. You look the same as when I met you. I think I met you for the first time in 2013, maybe 14, at a show, and like, you pretty much look the same. If anything, you're a little bit more jacked. I asked you offline if you're on TRT, and you said no, but I'm gonna ask you again online. Like, what are you doing to look so young, man? How do you stay in shape?
Again, I train all the time, between our gym and our fighters, and then I go to the weight room. I do my weights. I've been always consistent. I'm the type of person, if I don't train, I get mentally aggravated. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have the release that you need when it comes to the weights, when it comes to the gym. I still get on the bag, work the bag. Once I get in the ring with my guys and bang with them a little bit. But again, I don't drink. I haven't drank in 35 years. I gave that up and just wasn't for me at the time, and never looked back.
Does that help you not drinking, you think? Is that what you credit to, or do you just credit to?
I do. I think so. But again, before that, I was in the nightclub business. I opened my club in 88, and I quit in 86. Years before I knew I was opening a nightclub. But it's a good thing, because if I'd have been drinking at that time, I probably lasted 2-3 years rather than 18 years in the club business, which is a long time.
Oh, looks like we got some Mr. Anzalone here.
Hey.
This is my partner in crime.
Goes. I'm internet deficient here.
I had to have Santino set mine up. I know nothing about this stuff.
I just started clicking shit,
You're here, and we appreciate it. So we're already live, and you popped in at the perfect time, because Mr. Castricone was already talking about the nightclubs. So I want to hear some stories. That I'm sure you guys got some stories from the 80s. So I want to hear some of your guys' stories.
70s and 80s.
70s and 80s, yep.
Now we're old guys.
We go back to the disco era.
Oh yeah. Angelo still wears bell bottoms when nobody's looking.
When they do the world's largest disco, they call me up. Do you have any clothes left? They go, no, I have no clothes left.
Oh, I bet you do.
I wish I did. Goodness, now they sell for a lot of money.
Remember we used to go to the Hardy shoe downtown to get the platforms?
Yep.
That's right.
I used to get my platforms from Detroit. I used to have a guy come in from Hong Kong to make my suits.
Oh, that's funny.
Coming because I was the only guy that was, couldn't make enough money. I just come in for one guy. I used to have a lot of clients. Then they dwindled off. But nice to go to United Men's, who I go to all the time.
I used to go to Merry-Go-Round, get my clothes. Merry-Go-Round, Mantou, Fantastic.
Yep.
Merry-Go-Round. That's where all the hot chicks worked.
Did you guys have the Saturday Night Fever white suit?
The what?
The Saturday Night Fever.
Say again?
John Travolta white suit.
Nah,
Saturday Night Fever suit.
T-Birds was past the disco era. T-Birds was an
Yes,
old.
we were in the early disco era.
Yeah.
Mid 70s, even before Saturday Night Fever.
But they had so many. Every club was a different theme. You had Club 747, which was a plane.
Yeah.
It's not a plane. You had Port Shark, which was all nautical with a big shark tank in the lobby. You had National Bank, which was the door was a vault.
I worked there.
What else do we have? Red Jacket, Red Pepper.
Red Pepper, yeah, Fridays and Saturdays. That was the shit, though.
I mean, you can
On Youngs Road, that was the King Kong of the discos. Mulligans on Hurdle, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your guys' theme or your theme, Mr. Castricone? Were you
It was
together?
an oldies club. We played nothing but we didn't go past anything in the 1962
Right back.
and before. So I would tell the bands nothing past 62. Tell my DJ. He said, "What about Beatles?" I said, "Beatles is an American rock and roll. I want nothing but oldies." And from the day we opened, they exploded. We were jamming.
Yeah, it was T-Birds, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
A
were you
great
guys,
club by great employees. I mean, I tell people what made my club was the employees. I had, my doormen were great people. The girls, they had to get up on the dance floor. They would do the stroll with the customers, they would jitterbug with the customers. So even the girls would say that the only place they can go alone and feel comfortable.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
make sure they got to their cars at the end of the night. It was just a lot of fun. I mean, we had trouble once in a while, but one of my doormen, Big L, was 5'85", so a few people wanted to mess with Big L. But again, it was just the people that made it last for 18 years, which is a long time in the club business.
Yeah, yeah. I worked at Fridays and Saturdays, Mulligan, 747. My first resident DJ job was at Melanie's in 1975.
Yeah.
Over there on Main and Transit, yeah.
I lived at Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh, yeah, that was the place.
I've never been to 7, but they closed one night for cleaning.
Yeah. Yeah, that Fridays and Saturdays was the best on Youngs Road.
For sure.
so well, how was your relationship developed, Charlie? Were you like the DJ for Angelo's club? Like I'm like just trying to like catch up and see how you guys like met each other and like how the nightclub business started.
Well, I actually knew Angelo first really from the fight business. When Kevin Rozier, who of course was in UFC 1, what happened was Kevin Rozier worked at a club I worked at back in the early 80s. And then he went into the Army and of course got discharged from there. Then he told me, he goes, I want to take martial arts and karate and be a kickboxer, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, okay, Kevin. And back in the early 90s, I was DJing at the place called Kicks nightclub for celebrities. And I get a knock on the sound booth door. And it's a Kevin Rozier with a big grin on his face. I hadn't seen him in years. And in the meantime, in the mid-late 80s, he became like a 5-time world super heavyweight kickboxing champion. No leg kicks, just above the waist. And ISKA, WKA, North American, US, blah, blah, blah. And then he went into retirement, disappeared. He went to New York, got thrown out of there. He went to Vegas, got thrown out of there for a few reasons. And so Angelo knew him and me, and through that, when Kevin came into my sound booth that night, he goes, I want you to manage me. I said, why? What the fuck you doing now? He goes, there's this crazy new event. There's no rules. You can get killed. And give me the guy's phone number. So he gives me the guy's phone number. I call it. The guy's name was Art Davey. He goes, my name is Art Davey. I represent Kevin Rozier. He goes, well, I got a new event similar to the Vale Tudos they do in Brazil. And it's 8-man elimination tournament. The only thing you can't do is eye gouge or bite. That was it. And you got to win 3 times in one night to win a $50,000 prize. And so I started giving him my sales pitch. Well, I got a 5-time super heavyweight kickboxer. I didn't even finish my sales pitch. And he goes, I'll take him. And why? Because Benny Urquidez turned it down. Donna Dragon Wilson turned it down. The grappler, Bart Vale, turned it down. Everybody was turning this thing down. Who wanted to do this crazy event? And that's how he got in the UFC 1. And that's when I started associating myself with Angelo, because he had multiple black belts in karate and taekwondo and stuff like that. And so we just had a common interest in the martial arts.
Well, Charlie sent Kevin to me. Now, if you know Kevin's 6'4", 280 pounds, a big man. And he came to me, he says, oh, I heard you're a great kicker. I have a fight coming up. His first fight, kickboxing. He says, I want you to teach me. I said, okay. I said, well, here, let's start on the bag, kick the bag. You couldn't kick above my knees. I couldn't kick above my ankles. I said, Kevin, you got to kick higher than this. What is how you can kick? I said, okay, when's your fight? I'm assuming his fight is in, 8 months, 6 months. He goes, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He's fighting Tom Hall. Now, Tom Hall was a former a super heavyweight champion, world champion. He's a little bit out of his prime, but he's still Tom Hall. So we went up to Madison, Wisconsin. The biggest thing was between Tom Hall's coach and me was who was better dressed in the ring. Contest, besides that. So now Kevin Hingan in, and he drops Kevin the first round, drops in the second round. The ref says if he drops him the third time, I'm going to have to end it. I go, if he drops it the third time, I'll end it. So he fought the fight, lost it. But when we got there, the funny part is they had, the news there. I mean, it was a big ordeal in Madison, Wisconsin. And they had Kevin as 11-0. I said, he's never fought before. He said, would you come and watch him if he had no fights? I guess I wouldn't.
Well, was that a show Duke Rufus put on?
No, that was Rick. What was the name? I can't think what his name was. But that was the beginning of Kevin's, kickboxing career. And then, like I say, Charlie took him, all the way to UFC and got him involved in UFC. He won UFC. Well, he won his first match or second match.
First match against Zane Frazier.
Yeah. But Kevin was, like I say, that was our connection between the two of us.
Yeah.
He sent him to me, and then we started, promoting and getting into doing our own shows.
Yeah, Kevin was like, when he fought Ray Horsey and when he fought Stan Voss and them, he was like 235 or 235, 240, 45, I think, after he got in shape back when he was kickboxing. But when he knocked on my sound booth door, he filled up the whole door. So he was like, he had to be 285, 300 pounds.
Yeah, he'd blow up now and then.
I actually trained with him a little bit in the basement before. He wanted to do some grappling, and me and Primo, I don't know if you know Primo Luciano or not, went over there, and he got armbarred, and he freaked out, and he kicked us out. It was pretty funny.
Was that when he had the Chinese guy living with him?
I don't know who was living there. There was someone else there. I don't know. We were on the concrete, so it was not the best.
He had some Chinese guy that he brought in from China. The guy didn't speak any English. Kevin spoke no Chinese. I go, how do you communicate with this guy? The guy had a little mattress in the corner. That's where the guy slept. Well, Kevin was always a trip. Kevin was always an interesting person.
Yeah, he's
to say the least.
He's one of the more interesting characters I've met in the fight game.
He went to Master Toddy's in Las Vegas to try to do some Muay Thai before the UFC. And Master Toddy goes, he warmed up a little bit, then hit the bag twice, and then sat down and drank water. That's all he did.
But one thing about Kevin, if I would call him today, say, Kevin, I got a fight for you tomorrow. Okay, what I got to be?
He'd fight.
Training, no prep. He would fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. I mean, Kevin he passed away. What's it been, 2 years now? Kevin's been gone.
A little more than that, before COVID.
Yeah.
It was sad to see his demise. He got smaller, and so he was in a wheelchair. Last time I see him, we did a show at my gym in West Seneca, and he brought me a plaque. I still got to hang in my gym. It said, "Mr. Castricone, thank you for your, the sport, and thank you for being who you are and training us." And it was such a real nice plaque that he gave to me. It meant a lot because we were so close for so many years. It's still hanging in my gym. I look at it and think of him, at times.
That was awesome. I met him at that show too, and he didn't really remember me. I don't know if he's having memory problems or not, but I know that he remembered you, and I thought it was really cool. When I saw you guys interact, I was like, man, who is this Castricone guy? I didn't really know too much about you. So
Kevin was a manic depressant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin was a major president. He used to take lithium and all that. But we were in UFC 4. I said, Kevin, don't take your lithium tonight. You got you gotta go crazy and fight this guy. Yeah. He had his demons, and his wife didn't do him any favors either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
I tell you stories like that, but I kept saying on live. But
yeah, I guess I could too.
Kevin,
He's not here anymore. We can say whatever we want, really.
Like I say, Kevin had a big heart, for a big man. He was the kind of person, he knew everybody knew him. He walked in the room, he made a point that he had to meet everybody, let everybody know who he was. But again, he was just a good soul.
Everybody loved him.
Unfortunately, his demise in the end, he must have been, I don't know, 150 in his wheelchair when he came to my show. And I think he passed away a little bit later on than that.
He moved down to Tennessee or wherever it was so he could see his kids, because Tina moved down there with the kids, and he moved down there and she wouldn't let him see him. And that was like
that was the end of beginning of the end for him.
Over the edge, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Put him over the edge.
That's tough, man. Man, a good woman either makes you or breaks you in the sport.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like, you see great fighters get ruined by women, and you see fighters they don't think are gonna make it get support, and they do better than you think because they got someone supporting them. It's
yeah.
If you're watching this and you're a fighter, make sure you pick your woman correctly. I mean, it's the partner that you're gonna have to go through all your fights with and your camps. And
they have to know
all the training, the injuries, the politics, all that. Yeah, you got to have somebody by your side, definitely.
But you go back to the beginning, the old days. When I started, again, you would be called. Your instructor would call you up to spar. You spar. No headgear, no gloves, no shin pads. No, there was nothing except you get up. And that's how I got my eye split open and my head stitched up, a roundhouse kick, and then Master Lee says, "Oh, Angelo, you got to go to the hospital." I go, no, this ain't over yet. No. They go, "I'll go get stitched when we're done fighting because I'm not done." But the guy who did it was a dear friend of mine, George McCastle. George he's passed away since then. He was a tremendous martial artist. We would travel the point circuit, him and I. And another friend of ours, we called him Blackjack. Well, they said we look at an Oreo cookie because they were both African American. I was white. We traveled the country wherever there's a event, the three of us would go, and and they would look like, what are these three guys doing here? But George would win in the wipeout division. He'd win the Masters. That's how talented he was. And he wound up, his house got firebombed, and he died. It was a fireman. He just became a fireman. And they firebombed his house. There was issues going on. I found out later, which I didn't know. And he died in the fire many years ago. But again, another guy who was a tremendous, martial artist. But we did that. We traveled to point circuit because there was no kickboxing at that time.
No.
What happened was the way I got into kickboxing end of it, I was at a point tournament in Niagara Falls, and there's an exhibition. Two kickboxers was what they said, Kenny Graziano and Kenny Olson.
Yeah, I remember Kenny Olson.
An exhibition match for the point fighters. I looked at my cousin. I said, "That's who we need to be. If you knock me out, you win. If I knock you out, I win." Because with the points are, tournament, you got 4 judges and the center referee, and I usually was always like the arbitrator for the events that were going on wherever they were. And if you got 3 corners that are from your school, you get to all the points you want. You're not going to get it.
You're not going to get it.
Ring again. If I knock you out, I win. If you knock me out, you win. But then the politics followed us there, because I had I fought what was his name?
You fought in Joe Corley's Battle of Atlanta, didn't you?
I fought at Battle of Atlanta. I fought it in Madison Square Garden.
Who'd you fight in the Battle of Atlanta? A real famous guy.
Yeah, I know. It didn't last long. He was that famous. I get disqualified a lot because I was, aggressive. And the point you couldn't be aggressive.
Joe Corley did those big shows every year. Battle of Atlanta.
Yeah.
That was like the Super Bowl. That was like the Super Bowl of martial arts every year.
Yeah. Well, I brought this guy from Ohio, and knowing you go in Ohio, you go in their area. If you don't knock him out, you're not going to win. So I lost a split decision, which I was okay with. It was a good fight between us. So I fought him again in Ohio, and there was another split decision. So I said, you know what? I'm going to bring him to Buffalo. I'm going to fight him here. Well, at that time, Bill Gallant, who owned Classic Karate Studios.
Classic Karate on Sheridan Drive. Yeah.
Yep. So I fought. His name was Will Carpenter. So I brought Will Carpenter to Buffalo. Well, they bring Ohio judges. I'm looking at my.
Didn't you fight Will Carpenter in the Battle of Atlanta too?
No, I can't.
I thought you did.
No, Will I fought in Ohio. But when I brought him here in Buffalo, they bring Ohio judges. I look at the promoter. I go, why would you do that? Oh no, they'll be honest.
Oh yeah.
Fight. I lose a split decision. Will comes up
and he even Will Carpenter even said you won the fight.
He come up to me. He goes, I didn't beat you today.
Yeah.
I apologize. So I took my trophy, my money. I threw it to the judges, and I walked out. So then when I turned pro and I wanted to fight him. A week before the fight, he pulls out. He fought a North American title fight and took several stitches in his face, and he couldn't fight. So there's a fighter, Sean, out of Pennsylvania, and I knew he was a tough kid. He had fought one of my guys like a year before. I call him up. I said, "You'd be interested?" He said, "Yeah, I'll fight you." And I won my pro title and beat him in 5 rounds, but here in Buffalo. I didn't travel anymore because it was just nonsense. So whether it happened in point ring or in the kickboxing, there's always the politics that you have to play with,
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't Kevin Rozier get his belt from Bill Gallant?
No. Kevin, again, I hate to talk about the deceased, but Kevin being the arbitrator at these point tournaments. 1 week he was a white belt. Next week he was a yellow belt. Next week he was a black belt. So I didn't question it. What he said was he got it from Billy Blanks. Now we knew Billy because when I traveled the point circuit, Billy Blanks, Chuck Norris, Bad Brad Hefton, they were all the big names.
Bad Brad Hefton.
And
he was a great kickboxer.
I told him, I said, Kevin, I don't know where you got it. It doesn't matter to me. But then he got mad at me, a while after seeing that. He called me up, and I heard he was bad-mouthing me, which he never did. And he said that I was telling people he didn't get a black belt. I go, what I told people, he didn't get it from me. You got it from Billy. It's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I just said, I wasn't the one that gave you the belt. You didn't train under me in traditional martial arts. But again, so much had to do with Kevin's mind frame and a lot of things he was doing. So I never faulted him for it. A lot of stuff was out of his control mentally. They used to give him the shock treatment where they put the metal plate in his mouth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he would come back to work because him and I opened the Olympia Club together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it was, but he would come in and he'd be like a zombie from getting zapped. Like for maybe a month, he would just because what the electrodes, whatever they put through him. But again, he was just that was Kevin, the kind of person he was.
Yeah, that's crazy. I heard you say Madison Square Garden. You fought Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
Can you tell me that story? Madison Square Garden is like the mecca of fighting, so you can't say that and not talk about it. So I got to ask you about that.
It was a point tournament, and they had fighters from all over the country fighting there. And again, it was the point tournament to elimination. And the first round, what they had was we were fighting on concrete floor. So they gave us a little. It was like a little thing, a foam thing with a little strap. I go, what's that for? Well, in case you hit the concrete. I go, what's that going to do? It was literally that thing about an inch thick. And so we fought on concrete floors, and I think I lost in the second or third round. But I was more a banger than I was a point fighter. I had kicks in. I was noted for my axe kick, even in the kickboxing world. Everybody said, just be careful of his axe kick. And I learned that from Dr. Speed. My good friend Marty.
Marty.
Davis.
Yeah.
watch him in the point tournament because we'd fight at the same time in the point circuit. I always loved his axe kick, and I started mimicking what he was doing, and I became, very proficient at it. Well, I would throw it, and if you knew it was coming, you still couldn't stop it. But I give that to Marty because I used to watch him, and that was his signature kick, and I stole it from him.
And full contact kickboxing back then, you had our WK rules. Me and Ange were WK promoters, so you had to get 8 kicks in per round. And if you didn't get those 8 kicks in, we had kick counters with cards on all sides of the ring. And if you didn't get those 8 kicks in, you had to make up those kicks in the next round. So if you only landed 6, the next round you'd have to land 10. You'd have to add the extra kicks, and that was your full contact days. Like Kevin Rozier did all above the waist. The one time he did a leg kick fight, the Japanese, Mr. Ishii, who promoted K1 and stuff for many years, they wanted to put the super heavyweight kickboxing champion, Kevin Rozier, against the heavyweight kickboxing champion, Maurice Smith. And you go watch that on YouTube, man. Maurice nailing him with the leg kick. Kevin's like hopping around. Oh shit. God damn. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Well, just like when Rick the Jet Rufus fought a leg kick fight, I think 4th round he couldn't come out anymore. His leg was swollen and banged up because he wasn't used to it.
That's when he fought a Thai guy, right? That was a Thai fight, the Thai versus kickboxing fight. I've watched that a lot of times. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He fought guys just above the waist too that are usually leg kickers. He fought Ernesto Hoost over in Holland. He fought a lot of those guys. Yep, but when it came to leg kicks, he got into when we did K1 USA here, when Art Davey promoted it, brought K1 to Las Vegas. He was in that event, and he didn't like the leg kicks too much.
So how did you guys start this? It's called Castricone's Kickboxing now. What was it when you guys were working together? How did you guys promote the show? Let's talk about the history of your show, Mr. Castricone.
Well, it was the same thing.
Kickboxing at its best. Oh, I'll be right back because I got something to show you.
Okay. Kickboxing at its best series, and we kept on the 5th, the 6th, 7th, and 8th show. Charlie, I was a matchmaker. Charlie was the promoter. Charlie got the sponsorships, got the hall. I put all the matches together, put all the fights together. It was a good marriage. Yeah. Take that mustache off. Get rid of that mustache, Abby.
Is that you, sir?
Yeah, and my boys on both on either side of me.
For the boys.
He had the corn stash there.
Oh, sure, man. It's like Gino down there, Anthony and Angelo on each side of me.
Holy cow.
It was called Kickboxing at its best. Ange came up with with the name, and then we had to get sponsors. So we had to get a major sponsor that would come up with some money. Every fight had a sponsor. I got a sponsor for every fight. My chiropractor, he's got about 10 plaques on his wall from those events, and at car dealerships, Honda Village, everybody. But we needed a main sponsor. So I talked to Bill Delamore, God rest his soul. He was the GM for all of Jimmy Cosentino's properties. I go, can you hook us up with a beer distributor or something? So he hooked us up with the distributor in Buffalo that had Molson beer. And I sat down with Bill Delamore and I said, they could be the main sponsor, but they got to come up with some money. What they come up with? They had like $1,000 or something like that, and we gave them a bunch of ringside seats, and we called it the Molson Kickboxing Classic.
Yeah.
And the Radisson Hotel, Kicks nightclub, every bar in that hotel only poured Molson that night. That was the deal. And Lenova's was our sponsor. We gave them the pizza.
Yep.
We gave Lenova's the pizza concession. They came up with money. And I gave them ringside seats, but they had their delivery guys run to the Radisson Hotel, and Bill Delamore gave us the courtyard at the Radisson for free. Because you take the door, we'll take the bar. And everybody made money. And Lenovo's had pizza. They were running low on pizza. They had guys running from their only Lenovo's there on the west side with pizzas. Oh, they made money. And that's how it started.
Lenovo's nicknamed my youngest boy Gino. They call his company Italian Bulldog.
Really?
When that bell rang, he would run across to that opponent and just beat the crap out of him in the corner. That's the way he fought.
Yeah.
Actually, the fight we had, so we used to do it at the racetracks because Charlie had in with the racetrack.
That was the best. We did a show. We did a show at Buffalo Raceway. The guy at Buffalo Raceway called me and goes, I want to do some kind of promotion. You and your partner Angelo doing kickboxing because you think we could do fights at the racetrack. So we sat down and thought about it, and I said, there's enough time. There's 10 harness races a night, sometimes 12. But there was enough time between the races to do a 3-round fight with 2-minute rounds. I said, that's perfect. So we set the ring up, remember, Angelo, on the start-finish line at Buffalo Raceway. And the harness race would go off. The harness race, they came to the finish line. Boom. Angelo had the guys in the ring. I was the announcer, too. And I would be announcing the fight. And we did that between each harness race. And after a couple of races, the guys who were betting the horses, they got the racing program in their pocket. They were betting on the fights. Two guys, hey, man, I'll take that kid in the blue. I'll take that kid in the red corner. They were betting the horses. Then they started betting on the kids between each other. And they gave us a site fee. They paid us to bring the show there.
Yeah, that was a good gig we used to do there.
And you fought that night.
That's
one of those.
Yeah, there. But it was people like, how can you go to a racetrack? And it was just crazy. Like I said about my youngest boy too. Then one night at the track, he's looking at the roster. He goes, "Pa, I think you made a mistake." I go, "Why?" It says, "I'm the first fight and the last fight." He goes, "No mistake. You know who's been at a second round with you. You don't even break a sweat. You could fight twice." And he did. Now you can't do that. Now with all the rules and regulations, you can't get away with that. But he beat both guys. Actually, one of the guys he beat was Pete Gogolak's son, a grandson.
Yeah.
Punter, was it punter or field goal kicker for us, the Bills?
Field goal kicker.
Field goal kicker.
He was the first soccer style kicker in pro football.
Was it? Yeah.
Pete Gogolak, yeah.
The shows after, again, Charlie took care of the money. I took care of the fighters. And my wedding, and we got the video. They're interviewing him. He says, Angelo's the only partner I ever had that we didn't have to worry about who counted the money. That's what he said.
Well, we just we're good partners. We're partners in crime, man. I told Angelo, I'll get a sponsor. I'll put the asses in the seats. You put the fights together. And it was a perfect partnership.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to start putting these fights on?
Well,
it was sort of a collaboration.
Well, I did the first one, 88, out in the lobby of my nightclub. In the FP Mall. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling. And then Charlie and I met up and, we said, hey, between the two of us, you put it together. I'll take care of the fighters and we'll make this happen. They
came from Toronto to fight on our cards because, in Canada, well, in Ontario, Ken Kayashi, the athletic commissioner, oh, what a bastard he was. He wouldn't allow full contact or nothing. So me and Angelo heard Siam #1 gym, Suchart. We're doing an amateur Muay Thai thing. So we drive all the way to fucking Toronto. And we're there at the gym. And here comes Ken Kayashi. There will be no contact today, gentlemen. We were like, we drove all the way up here. What do you mean no contact? It's amateur. They got headgear and shit and everything. So we told him, fuck him. Come and fight on our shows in Buffalo. And they came down. Him, Sam Laoui, and all them guys.
Mick and Marty McNamara.
The twin dragons, yeah. Mick and Marty McNamara. Paul Biafor was their world champion.
Was their world champion.
And we got a female fan here. Oh my God! Hi, Angelo, Jen Liss, LIS.
Good, Jen. How are you?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Charlie. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay.
That's how it started. And then we did those until I moved to Las Vegas. And then Angelo and his kids are carrying on from there.
When did you move to Vegas? I forgot what year you left me.
September 1996.
Wow.
That's when we got divorced.
You took out my buddy. I know how it goes.
Yeah, a long time, huh?
Yeah.
And you only came out here to see me once in 30 fucking years.
Yeah. I go out there with all my money. I can't keep going out there. But yeah, the Canadians they still support my shows.
Yeah.
Did you start the promotion so you could get fair fights so you didn't have to travel out of town? Is that what the emphasis was to start the organization, or did you just want to put on fights?
No, I think I did it just so we didn't have to travel anymore. I got tired of politics. Wherever you go, it's always the same game. And I said, you know what?
Our shows were legit too. They were WKA sanctioned shows, and get this. You gotta have. There were no rules for martial arts and shit in New York State back then, or MMA or nothing. Like it was up to the municipalities to approve it, like they did when we brought the UFC there for the first time years ago. I think UFC 5, whatever it was. But anyway, we had ring doctors. We had how we got paramedics. All my friends were at firemen for Main Transit Fire Department. And I said, if I give you guys a whole bunch of tickets for the fire department, will you come and be our EMTs at ringside? And they said, sure. So we had EMTs at Main Transit Fire Department with their ambulance, everything, they had stretchers, everything. It was like a pro fight. And what better guys to have be medical and stuff at your fights? Guys in the fire department who deal with head-on collisions, trauma, head injuries, and shit and everything. They know their shit. Yeah, and if we had to pay for an ambulance, AMR, or something like that, we wouldn't have made any money. It would have cost a fortune.
It still costs a fortune.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it does.
No, yeah, but now you have to have a doctor, paramedic, EMT, ambulance, stretcher. It's insanity. But,
what we do in Nevada, when I became an inspector about 18 years ago for Nevada Athletic Commission, Mark Ratner, who I knew, who was the commissioner, he goes, Chuck Anzalone, you do all these, you did amateur kickboxing, promote Muay Thai, MMA, all that shit, the UFC. He goes, go check out one of these amateur shows, because smokers are technically illegal.
Yep.
So I went to Master Toddy's show. There's a lot of great fighters got their start with Master Toddy here in Las Vegas over the years. Gina Carano, everybody. And I took notes. I said, they had a guy checking kid's the blood pressure before the fight and all that, but there's no one kid blocked a punch, fractured his arm. Well, of course, his friends or parents had to take him to the hospital. What happens when you go to an emergency room by yourself? You're there for 6 hours.
Yeah.
But if there was an ambulance, you get right in. So I sat down with Mark Ratner and I said, Angelo, you should look into this too. They go, how can we? I said, these are not big budget shows, but we got to have an ambulance. You got to have paramedics, at least somebody at ringside. Yeah. So Mark Ratner got to push through that paramedics are paid for through the amateur fund here in Nevada, Athletic Amateur Fund.
Oh, really?
And when you buy a ticket for a pro event, a UFC, a pro boxing championship, and about a small print, $1 from every ticket goes to the state of Nevada Amateur Athletic Fund. That's how they fund it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they don't have to pay for any EMTs. And if an EMT has to bring somebody to the hospital, they're on the radar right away. We're going to be send another ambulance. Boom. AMR sends another ambulance because the next fight can't continue until there is a paramedic. And that's all paid for. That's all paid for through the state amateur fund. You might want to look into that. Yeah. Tell them that's what we do in Nevada.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
New York State, you can't get nothing from them, but it's worth looking into.
Yeah. Hey, they do it in the state of Nevada. Tell them that's the amateur fund pays for it. Yeah. And the amateur fund comes up with travel money and shit for kids that want to go to the national AAU boxing championships and stuff, and that's used for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that pays for the paramedics.
The organization that we have, you got the WKA, ISKA, USMTA. Back in the early 90s, I was acting commissioner for WKA.
Yeah.
Then the USMTA, United States Muay Thai Association. I was a North American rep for them. Then I went, who would I go after USMTA? Was it, the guy, he passed away. Not USMTA, USKBA. I can't remember.
I didn't know that one.
I was involved. Not only was I involved, obviously, in what I'm doing, but I was also involved with these organizations. The whole the events.
Hey, remember when there was like 10 people that said they ran the WKA after Howard Hansen got in trouble? Well, Howard Hansen put me in charge. No, I'm in charge. No, I'm in charge.
Dave Watkins was in charge.
He was the best.
Fight.
Dave Watkins was great.
He was. And what was the guy he brought down for? He was always the referee. Lorenzo
White or something like that.
Lorenzo White.
Yeah.
I mean, one time we had 23 fights on the card. We were fighting till 2 a.m, and Lorenzo was the only referee we had. I took him out for breakfast because the poor guy was thoroughly exhausted, and I told him, somebody falls out, drag him out. We got to get to the next guy. We got to keep going with these fights. We can't take time with everything we're doing, but we made it happen. But back then,
and we had to have a shitload of gloves we had to buy for the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of gloves last event. You had some nice stuff at the last fights.
Yeah, I got them out of what else? Out of Pakistan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Pakistan. They got some companies that make really good gloves.
Yeah, they made it. They put our logo on it.
Yeah,
the picture of the calcium on there. They did a good job, and where ringside you're paying $100-some a pair of gloves. These are $35 a pair of gloves.
Yeah,
just as good. Is excellent. Real good.
Real good leather and everything they use.
How did you find that place? I get like 10,000 advertisements for like stuff from Pakistan, but I feel like they're all scams. Like, how did you find a one that's actually a real company?
I got that through ISKA, who gave me Bubba's number. Bubba that runs the shows in Rochester.
Yeah, the FCP guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he's the one. He said, "This is who I go through." So I knew he had to be legit. I know nowadays you can't. There's so many scammers out there; it's ridiculous. But this is legit. If you want to, just let me know. I'll give you his number and his email address. How to get a hold of him.
Yeah, that factory in Pakistan makes gloves for quite a few brands now. A lot of people have gone to them. Yeah,
I've just seen some of the ones that are advertised on Ringside or Title are coming out of Pakistan.
Yeah,
I mean they make jackets, they make clothes, they make gloves, they made headgear. It's all top quality. I was really impressed with when I got everything.
Yeah, I saw them and they look great. They look so much better than like a lot of the stuff that usually you see at the fights are like all like broken and worn out, and then like inspectors like, all right, let's grab a different pair. That's usually how it goes with some of those shows.
Plus, I mean, we used to always change gloves. You get done, take your gloves off, give them the next guy. So I bought them up this time, so I don't want them putting their hands in somebody. Just got done sweating them for 3 or 5 rounds, and now that's gonna put them on. Next guy put them on. I remember going back when I was sparring, get ready for my fights. I used to spar at the PAL in South Buffalo. Their gloves, they were so bad. I was sparring. I was like gagging because of the gloves. And now I'm fighting Chuck Johnson, was a pro boxer. He started kickboxing us. Remember Charlie? Chuck? But he was my sparring partner. He was 340 pounds, but he was relentless. He'd fight 30 rounds, would break a sweat, and he'd be hitting me, and I'm hitting. I go, "Don't you feel this?" I'd be kicking him. He just kept that coming. But great spar. It's like having a walking heavy bag. And he was just a great. And then he started kickboxing with us, and I remember
we had some great fighters on our show. Stonehorse fought on our show.
Did he? Yeah.
I keep in touch with Stonehorse.
Well, yeah, he remember at the Radisson when he lost at the Radisson.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, because they were working his corner, his eye was swelling. I looked at his corner. I go, "Don't you want to get that down?" No, I go, "Get out of there." So I grabbed my head and swell. got in the ring and started working to get his eye opened up again. You know,
He had worked a 10-hour shift. He was a steel worker climbing the beams and shit.
he said, yeah.
And he had to go there right from work. And boy, he was beat.
Yeah. Well, I say Chuck, I mean, he would go again, he just wouldn't tire. He was so comfortable in that ring, you know, no matter what you did. And then when you went to kickboxing, again, we were in a show in out of state, and the doctor, you know, looked at him. She goes, "You're going to fight tonight?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to fight," because he looks like a pear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way he's shaped. And he goes, "You're going to fight 5 rounds?" He goes, "I'll fight 5, and I'll fight 5 more when I get done."
Yeah, no problem.
He gets out of the ring. He goes, "Want me to fight 5 more?" She goes, "You're just amazing. I never seen anybody look like you. It'd be such great shape. You know, blood pressure is perfect. Everything was in." But Chuck was it was great for Desparrow because he hit me and I see stars because he was a big man, heavy hitter. But helped me.
I got to jump in with a plug real quick. I know we got some great stuff going on, but if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Also, Castricone's Coliseum Combat Battle at the Theater. It returns Saturday, April 6, 2024, Forbes Theater, 500 Pearl Street. Make sure you guys go there. If you want to get on a card, contact Mr. Castricone. You can find him on Facebook, MMA Castricones, or just reach out and you can search him, I'm sure, 1,000 different ways. Okay, I'm sorry. I turn the floor back over to you guys. Gotta tell stuff.
Oh, Charlie's leaving us.
I gotta get my charger. Hold on.
What, for your heart? You started to looking a little pale. You want to keep an eye on him.
Oh man, well we can just we can kick him out of the pack, guys.
Yeah, we don't need him here.
Yeah.
I don't want to go dead in the middle of our conversation.
Can you break down a little bit like what the differences are between like putting on a show now and back in the day when you and Mr. Anzalone you and Mr. Anzalone?
It was just so much easier. You didn't have all the rules and regulations, and you know we made sure we just have an EMT ringside.
Yeah.
So and we never had issues. You know, everything now is micromanaged. You know,
exactly.
Is micromanaged. And unfortunately, it's got to the sports. I haven't even talked to the New York State Athletic Commissioner, you know, a year or two ago, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. You know, 2 doctors ringside, you know, EMT, paramedic, ambulance, stretcher. It just adds to the cost of doing shows that we enjoy doing.
Now, are these for pro or amateur shows?
The only difference between a pro and amateur, you need 2 doctors for pro, 1 doctor for amateur.
Oh, okay.
But you still need a doctor, still need a paramedic, you still need an EMT and the ambulance and a stretcher. Again, it was just you weren't so micromanaged. You had 1 rep, whether it was for WK, ISK, USMTA, they would be there, check everything out, make sure everything going how we're supposed to, and that was it.
Yeah.
Put the show together. Now it's just like you're constantly looking over your shoulder, making sure you do, and we go by what they tell us. We've got to follow the rules. But again, it was easier back then. That's all.
Yeah.
You have like Joe Wall at the shows now. He commented earlier he was happy to see you. It seems like a lot of people when the commission comes in, because they got all the people that watch everything. And I know like the promotion has to cover the cost of this. And you've been doing this show. I'm sure you've seen your cost been rising like everyone else's cost.
Oh yeah.
And you keep putting these shows on, man. And like you're one of the guys that like I'm very impressed by, because I'm telling you, a lot of these promoters are just about getting the ticket sales out the door, and it doesn't seem like that's what you're doing at all. And I've been around a lot of fights, and you just like to put the fights on and make good fights. And what makes you different than other promoters?
Again, I've always been bad businesses. I've always
he's honest. Really.
Really. I mean, and again, I don't do this for a living. I don't do this to make money. I do it to put the shows on. We enjoy what we're doing. We like what we're doing. And obviously you've seen my son Santino fight. It's just it's in our blood. It's in all my children have fought. My daughter had 8 fights in the ring. She was undefeated. When she was fighting, and one day she decided, Pop, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, I didn't want this for her, but I said, I'll take you as far as you want to go. And she would drop my 300-pound guys with leg kicks. She had to hit the same spot. Her and I did an exhibition one time for some charity, and she was kicking about the fourth kick. I go, "What are you kicking so hard for?" She goes, "I'll suck it up. I'm not kicking it hard." Well, my leg was swollen, I'm like, okay. But like I say, it's in our blood. All my kids fought, from my oldest boy down to my daughter, my youngest. But
when Santino's done fighting and all your kids are done fighting, are you still gonna carry this on, or?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm hoping when I'm gone, they'll carry it on. They'll enjoy doing what I do. And the people there. Probably 95% of people I know are people that have been to all our shows, and they continue to come and support us because they know they're gonna have a good show. They know it's just put together well.
Is Russ Cacci around?
No, well, Russell's in Florida, but he's moving back. He called me the other day.
Oh,
Come by. He's my daughter's godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's moving back to Buffalo.
Good guy.
Yeah. A little out of his mind, but he's a great guy.
I was pretty impressed by your son at the show as well. I know he was fighting, and of course the fight was impressive too. But he was carrying on your legacy. He was making sure everyone got their gloves. Like when I was in there, he was going around the locker room making sure all the fighters were taken care of. That's crazy. He's fighting and he's in the locker room with his opponent at times. He's a pretty cool guy to do all that, man. And,
he is, and he usually runs things for me behind the scenes. But again, him being fighting, he couldn't. And then the rules are when obviously you get your locker room, you can't leave. We had none of that back in the day. They wander around, get their hands checked, and move on. So that was a little bit of a burden for me. I had to do a lot more. I didn't even see I think I seen 3 or 4 fights because I was up with him, warming him up, getting him ready. Getting ready for the show.
We hired my friend Carlo Italia to be the glove man. Remember, he had the gloves at the table, and he kept track. And my friend Chris Breen, he went and collected the gloves in both corners after each fight and brought them to Carlo. Carlo had all the names, all the weights of the gloves, everything. He had everything. We didn't have to worry about anything.
Throughout the years, we lost some gloves. They disappeared.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that was a great fight, especially being the main event. Craig Reed, hats off to him. He comes to bang, and it was a bloodbath at the end, but it was a tremendous, and that was the first fight I've ever seen my son. Normally he's not, doesn't get that excited. He obviously enjoys the win, but he's humble. He's always been a very humble guy. And I think this, between the blood and everything else, it was just, he said, "Pot, this was like a movie." He goes, "Something I'll never forget." And it was, because they went to war, and it was a crowd pleaser. Craig Reed had a lot of he sold a lot of tickets from his school. So it was a good event. I mean, Craig's a stand-up guy. Like I say, he's a tough guy. He comes to brawl, and our hats off to him. But I've known them, the Reeds, him and his brother Chris. Actually, Santino, my daughter fought on his point card. My daughter was 8, and Santino, I think, was 10 or 11. No. That's how back we go, with our schools and with our families.
And you guys are still fighting it out, and then you're friends after. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. People don't understand that. Even when my daughter was fighting, at that time at our gym in West Seneca, I used to put the shows on there. And my cousin, who had the pizzeria, who sold pizza, and my daughter and the other opponent going in there banging away, and they get done and they're holding hands in hand, they're skipping, going to get pizza and pop. And my cousin goes, "They were just in there beating the crap out of each other." I go, "Yeah, but you understand this is what our sport is.
This is what it is."
And the ones you see that don't have respect are the ones that don't come from a traditional background.
Yeah.
In traditional martial arts, you learn respect is number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through your life. But some of these guys, they get in, they don't have that part of it.
Yeah.
I always like fighters that come from a traditional background, especially a point background, because they got the speed there, the timing there, the accuracy. You just need how to put it together with power.
Yeah, power. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just not a tapping like the Karate Kid, and like Elwin Roberts, one of my fighters from back in the day. He was a tremendous point fighter and became a tremendous kickboxer. For that reason, his kicks were fast, his timing was there, and I would yell things. You yell from the corner, and you assume they can't hear you anyway. But no matter what I tell him, double up on the left or right hand. Bing, bing. He do it. I'm like, so that's what they go. Did you actually hear me? He goes, like you were sitting on my shoulder. He goes, I didn't hear anything but your voice. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. But those are the ones that they become great fighters because they have that background, the traditional respect that you do when you're in the martial arts.
When you were talking about fighting in Madison Square Garden and stuff, I was working one of Zab Judah's fights here in the boxing match. His father's his trainer, cornerman. We started talking. His father fought on those shows in New York City. He was a full contact guy. Yeah. Zab Judah's father was a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's from Brooklyn too, I believe.
Yeah.
Ray got all the New York City connections. He know.
Hey, Angelo, who's your favorite?
Between the fights, there was fights everywhere. We travel all wherever we could get a fight.
Who's your favorite K1 fighter?
Ernesto Hoost.
King of the leg kicks.
The best.
Gotta be Bazooka Joe.
Yeah.
Well, we train with him when Santino gets ready for. We'll go up to Toronto. We'll fight with Bazooka's camp guys, and Derek, their coach, passed away. I don't know if you knew that. Years ago, 30-some years old. I mean, we're all crushed. I mean, Derek was one of the most stand-up guys I've ever met. Always a big smile on his face, and always happy to see us. Oh, come down anytime. And now Bazooka and there's other people have taken over, but they're still a class act. Little Steve from Redemption. So many great camps up from Canada.
What do you call it? Did Stone Horse ever get a hold of you?
No.
Oh, he's on Facebook.
Yeah, I see him around, but
yeah, I chat with him. He when John Jones started training MMA, kickboxing and everything, one of his camp or trainers or people brought John Jones to Stone Horse. They told Stone Horse this guy's gonna be the world champion. He's the real deal. And Stone Horse, of course, some new guy. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's gonna be the real deal. Yeah, okay. Let's see what he's got. And he started training in Muay Thai with Stone Horse. And Stone Horse told me, he said, "Well, he was a real fucking deal." That's where he learned his Muay Thai from, was from Stone Horse.
Oh yeah, he was out of
Binghamton. Well, he was originally from Rochester, John Jones, and then he went to grew up most of his life, went to college in like Binghamton area. Yeah. Catskills.
Yeah.
Bomb Squad back in the day.
Yeah. But it's funny with the talk about Bazooka Joe. Now Santino's. We went to New York City to watch Glory when they were fighting, and he always we got pictures with Bazooka Joe, every time we go up there, and they're great guys. And Santino, the last round, we knew we had all 4 rounds won. I said, just don't get caught. And he goes, Pa, I was in the corner, and it popped in my head, Bazooka Joe, because Joe's last title fight, he had the fight won, 5th round. The guy caught him with a short hook, I think, and knocked him out. And I said, that's how quick it happens. He goes, it popped into my head, and I spun the guy around, and I got him in the corner, and I went to work. But so I told his coach about a week ago, I talked to Paul Minus, who used to be his coach at one time. I go, tell Joe when you see him that thanks to him, Santino didn't get caught in the corner because he thought of you, and he spun himself out of that corner and finished the fight. So it's funny how things – happen and add up, down the road when you're doing things,
So you've been in this business now for closing in on 50 years. God damn it, that's a fucking crazy amount of time.
Being alive for 50 years is crazy.
What kind of changes have you seen in the fighters? I mean, fighters are so much more skilled nowadays, but I feel like even the guys from my era seems a lot tougher than the guys that we have today, at least durability wise. Maybe not these guys take a beating too. Everyone that steps in the ring or the cage is tough, but what are some of the differences that you see in the fighters from from your age to now?
Again, I think these guys are a little bit more skilled, but they're a lot tougher in the old days because you didn't fight constantly. There weren't that many fights going on. So when you did have a fight, these guys were ready. These guys were prepped for these fights. Where now it seems like there's so many promoters, so many fights going on. They kind of take it for granted. So that training is hard. Oh, I'm gonna fight in a couple of weeks. I won't have to train. Like we would train, obviously start months before when we got a fight coming up. But now it's so close that they're losing the prep time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And refs didn't stop the fights as much back then as they do now.
Yeah.
You get a little cut and the ring doctor comes in. Oh man, I got to stop this fight. It's like, and I'm watching. I'm like, come on, it's not that bad. Put some fucking adrenaline 1000 or Aventine on the cup. It's a Vaseline. Let them go at least one more round.
But I think that's really what it is. It's not so much so often back then. So we look forward to it. We train hard, because we might not have no one for 6 months. We're not fighting so often that it's okay. I'm ready. I'm in shape. So I think that's a big factor.
And you didn't. And back then you didn't have all the fancy gyms and equipment to work out on, all the supplements to build muscle, but not steroids, just supplements in general and stuff. And the diet and everything is, everything is. Back then, they just trained enough so they could breathe for 6 rounds and go and kick the crap out of somebody. Yeah. They probably ate a pizza before the fight.
Probably. I was telling you earlier before we went live that with my instructor, Master Lee, our gym was upstairs from Mickey Rat on Main Street.
Main Street, yep.
Yeah. And again, we had no heat in the winter. We had no air in the summer. We had a fan. And I'd go in there and I'd sneak in early and I turn the thermostat up with my pen. And they say, "Oh, Angelo, who turned the heat up?" I don't know, Master Lee. I just got here just to get it to at least 30 degrees. Because that's how cold the floors were, ice cold.
Wow!
And
remember Jimmy Gordon? He was a doorman at Mickey Rat's on Main Street.
Very, very well.
Jimmy Gordon, yeah.
He was a banger. I wish he would have fought UFC.
He was he was a tough man.
There's no question. I used to spar with him, and he was the instructor. He didn't pull any punches. You were training him, you were sparring him, just exercising, like blocking him and punching. He'd punch through your chest. He'd come out your neck. I mean, he'd be at the door at Mickey Rat's, and he just had this look on his face. Just as you see him at the door, you walk into the bar. It's like you say to yourself, "I am not going to fuck around in this club with this guy at the fucking door." Yeah, he just had the look about him. He was scary. He was scary standing still. One time at Friday and Saturday, there's a group of guys getting ready to get into it. He walks in the middle. Well, remember Ronnie Wunderlich? Yeah. Ronnie and I are still dear friends till today. We get up and we go sit. He goes, "What are you doing?" We go, "Well, there's like 15 of them. Let's go sit down." I'm all right. I'm like, all right. So we went sit down and told the guys, "We'll go outside." They're like, "Which one?" He goes, "All these." They got about halfway to the door and they went back and sat down and shut up the rest of the night. When the guy does that, you got to think twice. Okay, should I go outside? He was a big guy. He was tall. He was probably like 6'2", 6'3". Yeah. He was a big guy. Yeah. He just had a menacing look about him, but he was a real nice guy. Accident, and they said he could walk again. I go, "Anybody going to walk? Jimmy Gordon will walk." And he did. Yeah, they sure did. And his other leg, and I think he still trains, from what I hear. I run him maybe a great while.
So I want to get into something that you sort of brought up a little bit. You said there's a lot of shows going on now, and we talked about this in the green room, so I'm gonna handle it with like Kara. I know we wanted to be respectful to everybody, but the FCP show is the same day as your show, and lately it seems like a lot of the fight shows are at the same day. Actually, the Fredonia Grappling Tournament is also on that same day. So as a coach, I have a lot of stuff to go on that day. So I have a grappling tournament, then I go to fights, whatever fights we end up getting booked on. Right. And Like, why is it? Like, there's so many months where nothing's going on. Why can't we get everyone together somehow and make sure that the fights are broken up so everyone can get their hands in the pot a little bit?
Angelo told me about that. He said, I remember when we talked, he said, I'll get a date for a show 3.5, 4 months before the show. The next thing you know, there's 2, 3 other shows the same date they ended up booking and the same date.
I said from the beginning we should all get together collectively and say, okay, let's get our calendars together. I got these dates booked, you got these dates, and this way it works for everybody. Because we only got a small pool of fighters locally.
Yeah.
And they're fighting all the same shows. And I guess I just talked to someone there, I can't think who it was the other day. I have no issues of sitting with with Bubba, with Keith, with everybody else. Say, okay, let's pick these dates. And, like Keith, I'm sure any day is pretty open for him. Same thing with Bubba, and same thing with me with 5 and a Pearl. But we need to do this. We need to get together. And we need to figure this out. So we're not beating each other up and trying to get, the shows put together. I think everybody gets.
Like One Kick Nick out here doesn't do a show and Tough Enough's got a show and vice versa. They sort of respect each other that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you really only have like the 3 big promoters now. You got K4, you got you guys, FCP. There's Gladius, but they're pretty far away, and they lost their venue, so who knows when they're gonna have.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened. I just know that they lost the venue. I had a fighter fight for them too.
They're the one in Elmira, right, Gladius?
Yeah. They're far. They're like an hour and 45 minutes away. I mean, that's still close enough. And then Rich Mitchell kind of dropped off. I know he was having health problems and.
I bought his cage.
Yeah. So you got his cage, and he's been talking about doing another grappling show too. We'll see what happens with that. Like I used to work for Rich, so I worked for. I call a show for Mahmoud. Me and Ray call all the K4 fights, and we do the social media for K4. Like I try and promote the FCP fights. I'm trying to promote your fights. Like as a community, we should really grow. Like we're all starting to train together as gyms. Like the gyms are starting to come together now. Like we're getting together, we're training, we're cross training. And that used to be like a no-fly zone. We used to never do that,
Right.
But now we're all trying to make Buffalo be a bigger place than just, let's stop fighting each other. Let's get our experience in these shows and get national, you know what I mean? And
you're a couple hours from anywhere in Pennsylvania, hour and 50 minutes from Toronto. You got a big population base and a lot of gyms and stuff and everything. And you can do some really successful stuff if everybody would just say, yeah, maybe this is the best way to do it.
We had sparring today. We get together with Mateo's militia. He brings his fighters down, and and everybody works well together. And we tell them we're here to spar, not to kill each other. But that's a problem. You go to some places and you guys aren't controlled, and you don't want to go in and get injured before a fight. So you got to be careful where you're going, who you're going to. But Tony was one of my fighters back in the day. A lot of these guys that have gyms were my fighters back in the day, and they've opened their own schools, which is, to me, it's nice to see that they carried on, after and open their own gyms, open their own schools.
I just want to give
Joe Pagan around?
No, give me 1 second, Charlie. I want to shout them out a huge thank you. They wrapped my fighters' hands when I was in the sling, and I couldn't wrap hands. So Mateo wrapped my guys' hands, and I really appreciate it. So if you guys are watching, it's thank you so much. I taught my guy kind of how to do it, but he kind of sucked at rapping. No offense. He's not very good at rapping. It's a science, man. It's hard to do, and I just couldn't do it one-handed. So, thank you so much for wrapping my guys' hands. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Tony's a great guy. Him and his crew are all good people. We're talking about wrapping hands. We're at a show at one of Amir Abdallah's shows, I think. And because I used to rep his shows. Remember when Jay Bauman fought Mark Stevens?
Yeah.
Well, Jay said, I'm only going to fight if Angelo's refereeing this fight. So they asked me, I said, yeah, I'll ref it. And I told him, I said, look, you got to be careful with Mark Stevens. This guy's been all over the world, but they convinced him to come in and fight, and he did. I mean, Jay's a tough kid. And unfortunately, I seen it coming. threw a couple late kicks. I'm thinking it's go to the head, but I want to pull him outside. You go, he's going to go to your head, but obviously being a ref, I couldn't help him. Sure enough, it was like that. He went down and it was out. But I get there and I'm wrapping a couple guys' hands. I look, there's like 20 guys sitting in chairs behind me. I go, what are you doing? We'll get it when I get our hands wrapped. I go, where's your coaches?
Yeah, waiting for you to wrap the whole card.
So I'm sitting there and I'm rapping. Now, obviously, Santino knows how to wrap pants, so he helps me, wrap our guys. But there must have been 20 kids waiting for me to wrap hands. There was like 2 hours.
They used to have in the TNT fights. Guys would come with no coaches, and they're like, I need my hands wrapped. And then I'm supposed to be commentating a show. I'm over the back wrapping people's hands and stuff. It's crazy. Like,
it's crazy coming with no coaches, isn't it? You got to wonder. I don't get it.
I think a lot of it is like, they say they're going to fight. They're working in the gym, and then the gym's like, no, you're not going to fight. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm going to go fight. And they're like, okay, go fight. Figure it out on your own, Like,
yeah. I'm sure that happens, yeah.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Another plug. Thank you, Integrity Martial Arts, for sponsoring this podcast. It's my gym. So I pay for the podcast, obviously. So thank you once again for my gym. Speaking about gyms, you still successfully run your gym. Can you tell me a little bit about like the ups and downs of being a gym owner yourself?
Well, basically, I have my gym built out of my home. I used to have a gym in West Seneca, then I had one on Broadway, and I got tired of driving in a half hour, 2 people show up, or nobody shows up and drive all the way back home. So I built the whole building on. I got my ring, heavy bags, speed bags, got a nice floor area. And basically there's any given time, 6, 8 of us, that's it. And, I don't charge them. I just do it because I enjoy doing it. So, I mean, they get the freedom come and go as they want. But back in the day, I used to teach at the head of our community center. Living in Lovejoy.
Oh yeah.
Lovejoy. Oh yeah.
Yeah, going way back in the day, and I taught traditional taekwondo because I was my master's highest ranked student. I got my 4th dan. I became a master in taekwondo, and same thing with the kids in the neighborhood. I mean, I get even till today. I see kids. Oh, remember I trained with you? I'm like, not really, because with so many kids, and I never charged them. It was a neighborhood thing, and I enjoy doing it.
But Angelo, do you train?
Do what?
Do you still train?
Oh yeah, I'm still
working out.
That man, he definitely trains. Look at he go like this. He got bigger muscles than anyone else in this podcast right now.
He's a tough old guy.
Well, I got it. You see my son. You see my fighters. I mean, they got to be careful. They never turn on me, but I love. The biggest compliment I got was one of the kids in the neighborhood for Father's Day sent me a Father's Day card or text. Said,
cool.
They all call me Mr. C. They go, Mr. C, you took Stone Cold Killers. You made us men. You taught us respect. You taught us how to be men, because most of them didn't have fathers in their lives, and I just didn't think anything of it. I just took them under my wing with me because all my son's friends. And for them to say that, how much I did for them, it meant a lot. After all these years, to hear them, the recognition that they gave me, and I didn't do it for anything other than because I enjoyed doing it. And I knew they're all street kids. I was a street kid at one time too in the neighborhood. And, they would come to me, or they come over to the house. We'd have them out here for picnics and their family. Now they got families of their own. And that means a lot, that to be recognized like that by these guys.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think you should be recognized more in the fight community too. I don't think you get enough respect in the community, especially like the MMA community. I think a lot more guys should be doing more kickboxing. These amateur guys, like some of the MMA guys, their striking is pretty bad. And they could definitely use some amateur kickboxing and go with it. And like you have a great show. I always recommend that most of my fighters, or like anyone in trainer, like get some kickboxing. Like at the time we had Lace Up, we had Castricone. Is Lace Up even still functioning?
Yeah, he's doing it solely in Syracuse.
Yeah.
We had a great kickboxer from Belarus, Radik Lankin.
Yeah.
Oh, what a kickboxer he was, this kid.
He's a country from Russia.
Yeah,
And-
remember he said in Russia when we're kids, it was here in America, you play Little League Baseball. We kickbox in Russia when we were kids.
Box. That's the sport where we play baseball, football. And he came here. He didn't speak hardly any English.
Yeah.
He started with Kevin Rozier. And then he got, I don't know what the deal was. I don't know what happened between them. And I don't know how he found me. I don't know if it was through Charlie. And I was teaching at Gold's Gym at the time. And he came and trained with us. And, you know when you see a diamond in the rough.
Oh, he was so good.
Unbelievable. Everybody I put him in front of, he beat. He fought one of the Twin Dragon, Mick and Marty's fighter, who was the next world champion. And Raddick just spanked this kid for 5 rounds. And they started calling me Jesse James. We got robbed.
Yeah. Oh, remember that? He goes, Jesse James, Mick and Marty Mac. He's in the corner. The judge is announcing the decision. And he goes, Jesse James is in the house. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like he was getting robbed. No, you didn't get robbed. The guy got whooped by this little Russian amateur kickboxer.
Little guy, but very respectful. I used to have him over for dinner. His father, I don't know what his father did. He transferred back forth from Russia to the States. So I didn't get involved in all that. But we had him over for dinner one time. He told my wife it was a beautiful meal because he really don't know the English language too well. But the kid.
No, I hadn't seen him in so many years. I accidentally ran into him at the MGM Grand after the fight.
You took a picture. You guys sent it to me.
Like,
remember?
holy shit, it's Raddick. Yeah.
Yeah, because he comes in town. He still has family in Amherst.
Yeah, well, he's in something like he's in finance or stock trading or something. Does stuff like that in New York.
Don't ask.
Nice kid, respectful.
Yeah, you got a family now. You got kids.
Yeah,
you got 2 kids, a wife, but yeah,
he did all above the waist, full contact. He didn't do the leg kicks, Asian rules.
No.
But boy, could he kick!
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. You've been in this game for like longer than I've been alive. So what?
That means you're old, Angelo, and you're an old man. We're old men now.
I don't know why.
We got to take the fucking blue pill now. What the fuck?
Mr. Castricone did not say that. Look at the guns on him. I don't think he needs no blue pill. He's been training. What do you look for in a fighter that you're going to train? What makes a fighter stand out? What special characteristics are you think go associate with a successful fighter that's going to make it as a pro?
Number one is showing up. You know what I mean? Number one is having heart. Like I tell them, you get all tail in the world. If you don't have heart, I can't help you. You know, you got to be able to push and move on, especially when you're sparring, you're getting banged. And I could see it. Normally, when they start out, I'll put them in the ring just to give them a little sparring. Right in the beginning, you see, do they have the heart? Is it worth the time to waste that time with them?
And the guys and the kids that show up to the gym early every day.
Yes. And we got a guy now that just started with us, and he's always the first one here. He lost like about 40 pounds. Today's first time he sparred, and I thought he did. I told him, I said, I thought he did great today. And he never sparred before. Sparred with guys that had fights. Those are the kind of people I love to work with because I know I can work with them. They got heart, and they show up. The talent we can give them, but they have to have the heart first.
The first one to arrive and the last one to leave.
Yeah. I mean, we used to, I've had so many people come to my doors. Perfect example. One time I had a guy come in, I think it was like 320. And I said, what do you do? Oh, I'm a doorman and I'm a street fighter.
All the street fighters.
I go, we slap street fighters out like little girls. So I told him, and I get to see his attitude, his personality. I go, you know what? You and I will spar first. I didn't want to be with my guys and hurt anybody. I go, I'll work to your ability. If we'll go slow, I'll work with you. I'll teach you what. But if you get stupid, I'm going to get stupid. First punch, right to the jaw. My whole side of my face went numb. I hit him with a left hand, uppercut, a right hand. He went all the way, hit the ropes, went down. He laid there. He goes, I'm done. I go, done. We just started.
Done.
Jumped out of the ring and left. He never came back. But I see that, and as soon as the guy walked in the door, I seen his attitude. I see when he was about And I won't have that here. You know what I mean? Because, like I say, we're family. Everybody calls me, we're all family. And, but when somebody comes out like that, you see they got the attitude right away, and they're not fighters,
Yep.
Now, I had a lot of bouncers in my clubs, I mean, they were tough guys. Most of the time, they would talk them out of fighting, calm them down. Come on, let me buy you a drink. And I tell them, once you back them in the corner, now you give them no other choice but to fight out. And we had go rounds, but majority of the time, we had, like I said, we had big, Al, 585 pounds, But then he would drink Wild Turkey, and then I'd have to slow dance with him.
Wild Turkey, oh my God.
It was only after hour. At 4:30, he starts doing shots at Wild Turkey.
My boss loved Wild Turkey. I buy him Wild Turkey for Christmas every
We lost
year.
him a couple of years ago. He had a brain aneurysm, 36 years old.
Man.
That's on the Wild Turkey.
They couldn't
Probably is.
find an MRI to put him in. That's how big he was.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
jeez.
It was too late. He flatlined.
Oh wow.
I got another fight question for you, and then I think we're gonna start wrapping it up. How do you tell a fighter? Obviously, like guys get older and they wear down, and you see them start to not be the same. How do you tell a guy that this is his
over?
whole life has been fighting, and it's time for him to walk away? What do you say to him?
It's over.
Basically, look at how far you want to go with this. Your timing's slower. And usually, even before I say anything, they realize it. We had another big guy who was a banger, and what happened was he was heavy. He lost weight. Now he was, manhandling these other guys because of stamina. These guys run out of stamina. By the time he run out of gas, he beat him up. Then all of a sudden, he started gaining weight again. He started becoming a punching bag. I says, "You see what you're doing here? You now are becoming the fat guy again. You have no cardio. Now these guys are beating you up. Either you got to lose weight or you got to get out of the game." And, you got out of the game, unfortunately. But, I think he realized that the transition that was happening, that now all of a sudden he's the guy because they couldn't believe the stamina he had. But then the heavier you got, you can see him getting weaker and slower and not finishing the fight.
Like with Sugar Ray Leonard, his last fight, he wanted to make a comeback. And Michael Acree, his promoter, signed out as his promoter. Mike Acree and Louis DeCubas, the ones that brought Roberto Duran's career back. And Mike Acree and Ricky Glazer would book the fighters for Mike Acree. And he said,
I just see Ricky about a month ago. We both belong to the boxing Ring 44.
Yeah.
Rick Glazer's been in there.
He does a lot of big stuff, man. He doesn't like match make or get fighter. He just does the deals now. He works with Golden Boy, Matchroom. He works at all around the world. But anyway, they want to give Mike Yeager told Leonard, let's do a couple tune-up fights like we did with Duran. We'll get you on USA Network on Tuesday night fights and get you warmed up. He goes, no, I just want to see if I can do it. It's if I can do it or I can't do it. I think that's when he fought Camacho. And I forgot what round it was. He went down. He taking a knee, and the referee's counting. Did the 8 count. And Ray just looked at him. The referee stopped the fight. Ray looked at him and said, "Thank you." And that was the last time he ever went in the ring. That's what he knew. It's like, no, he just.
We all think we got there a little bit left in this, unfortunately, but you got to know when it's time to call it quits.
Man, thank you guys for telling me this because I've been feeling great in the gym lately. I just recovered from my bicep. Like, I'm just getting back in shape. I'm already in better shape than my fighters and like tuning them up a little bit. I'm feeling healthy again. And I just got to keep hearing like, you're too old, you're too old, you're too old. And
it's all a mind game. Did you tear your bicep? What'd you do? You did something?
Yeah, I ripped it right off the bone. So I had to have it, I did separate it. So I had to put screws in and, reattach it, but it's back now. And like I sparred for like good the first couple of times last week and feeling great. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a while again, but like it feels good punching again. Like
I tore mine years back in the ring on one of my fighters because he was in the ring and he's running around. I go, what are you running around for? You got to engage, get in there and fight. So I said, get my gloves. I told him, I said, wife goes, what are you doing? I go, don't worry about it. I get in the ring. Now he's running from me. I'm cutting the ring off. And as I went to throw a right hand, I was a little bit outreach. I'm thinking, I hope I don't make contact. I did. And I was in zip. I'm like, crap. My wife goes, I told her, get mom. Because we got to take that to the hospital. He stepped his bicep. I think 2 months before that, I stepped my ankle on one of my fighters. I stepped on his foot. And here my ankle, like shatter. So I had that to deal with it. It stepped my bicep.
Yeah. I did mine 7 years ago, landing a body hook. And then this last one, I was just catching a dog. So I had him by the collar and he yanked because he got out of the yard. Yeah. And he yanked it just right off. I was like, oh my God, I fight all the time. I get hurt by a dog. This is ridiculous,
No.
A friend of mine did the same thing, pulling this kid's sled. Went to yank the sled and tore his tricep.
Oh man. So
there's a million ways, especially dogs, if they take off like that, because I breed dogs. I got, kennels here. And I got kind of Corsos and German Shepherds. They're both, especially the Corsos, a big,
you're not going to rob his house.
No, not at all. Everybody wants to know why you got so many dogs around. None of your business. Just don't come around. You ain't got to worry about it.
Right. All right, man. We're at about an hour and a half, so we'll start getting you out of here. But you do have your show coming up April 6th. It's in Buffalo, so if you're a local fighter, you should be fighting in Buffalo anyways. The venue is awesome. You can't do better than fighting at the Pearl Street, 500 Pearl Street. You're gonna feel like a king fighting in there. The ring's nice. Angelo's a cool guy. His son will take care of you. He's gonna get you gloves even if he's fighting. It's a real family atmosphere.
And I'm coming out of retirement
For
1 weekend only.
Are you gonna be there?
No, the commissioner used to be the commissioner near Mark Ratner. He's now vice president of regulations for the UFC. Over the years, we used to put a team together from Las Vegas to go train officials in countries that didn't have officials. I did a seminar in Taiwan, I did Sydney, Australia, Tokyo, Rio, Manchester, England, Newcastle to train officials for MMA and stuff. I did the inspector seminars, which is what I did. So he told the chief inspector, Alex Ibarra, good buddy of mine I worked with at the commission, because I retired from that like three years ago now. And he said, ask Chuck Anzalone if he wants to be on the team of inspectors for the UFC Fight Night in Mexico City, February 24th. I said, absolutely. So
you're going to Mexico.
Mexico City, yeah. February 24th. I think it's on ESPN Plus or whatever it is. It's a fight night, UFC Fight Night.
That's awesome. Caveman. Caveman, tell Charlie about the story about the gloves.
Which one?
Your fighter got screwed over.
Oh yeah. So I had a guy, Derek Patterson. He fought at K4, and they never checked his wraps.
I heard about that.
Yeah,
I heard about that. I blame the officials for that, not their fighter. It's their job to make sure that hand is wrapped before his gloves go on.
The inspector, that's what we do. They wrap them right in front of me. You know that picture I got on the internet of me signing Pacquiao's wraps, and I got the gloves around my neck before he fought Bradley?
What they did was he had his hands wrapped, then he put the gloves on, and then afterwards he took his glove off. Am I right? And they go, where's your mark? He goes, I don't know. They marked under his hand, whatever. It was his first pro fight, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Won the fight, and they disqualified him.
Yeah. So what happened was he got his hands wrapped in front of the commissioner too. So the commissioner seen his hands get wrapped, and then they put the gloves on right away because they called him out, and they never signed his wraps.
That wasn't right. I was mad about that. Is that in my fight? I was furious. I said, I could have done that to him.
Our inspectors, we stay with the fighters until they go out to the ring. Yeah. There's always an inspector there.
Yeah, he won all 3 rounds. And I got to tell you a real quick
story. Remember when they used to have the tough guy tournaments?
Yeah.
In Buffalo?
Tough man.
I was, they had me doing corners and refereeing for that. Well, they were doing a show at Desideria's place. I can't think of the name of the club right now. But they wanted to
impacts
my gloves. I said, okay. I said it'd be $100 a day for 2 days. No, I'm not paying. I go, then you're not getting them. He goes to Kmart, buys Kmart gloves. They're First fight, Kenny Olson hits the guy. Poof! The gloves exploded.
Glove came apart, yeah.
all the cotton in the gloves fell out.
That was their night. That was their club Impacts on Dingens Avenue, I think. Yeah.
So the guy comes up to the promoter. He goes, "Can I get your gloves?" He says, "Yeah, I just sold you $200 for the both nights." He says, "Okay." Gives me the 200. I let me use the gloves. I didn't go back Saturday. I go down with you. But if you really see the gloves explode, you can't find with Kmart gloves, you know.
That's funny. That's a funny story.
It was interesting to say the least.
And then, how can people get a hold of you if they want to fight on your card?
They can go on Facebook. We got a post on there with my number, or they call me direct 716-866-6616.
Awesome, guys. And then I will link the poster's already linked in this. Contact's right on there. So if you're watching this and you just go out and you look at the thumbnail, the poster's there. It's in the upper right-hand corner right now, too. The number's on there. Facebook is MMA Castricones. So you can find it there, too. Definitely check them out. It's going to be an awesome show. Hopefully I'll be there. Hopefully you get my old guy matched up. We'll see. Like, it's hard to get this guy fights. He's like 56. Yeah. And he's only got one fight, dude. How do you forget one fight at 56? You know, like it's tough. You know, like when you're that old. And,
well, that's in those regulations too. I mean, they make it jump through hoops. You got to get the ophthalmologist. You got to get the neurological test and
the EKG, everything, man. It's tough to fight after 40s.
For a pro show, yeah.
And he's had one fight. Jeff, he's had one fight.
Yeah, he's 1-0. He beat up he beat rest in peace John Gerhardt up. So like it wasn't.
And then he did the
John passed away too. Guys. I got people cramping his hands at the show in Rochester years ago.
Yeah. So my guy fought him.
Whatever happened to Paul Veely in Rochester?
Oh, I haven't heard that name in.
Yeah. He got into the jiu-jitsu stuff, and that's where he went.
Yeah.
Say that with a bad taste in your mouth. There's nothing wrong with jiu-jitsu, bro. It's all right.
No, but he used to be just he used to be just in the kickboxing, and I think he promoted or managed Bustamante for a while.
Yeah.
And but he was all stand-up guy. Then he got into the jiu-jitsu grappling, the MMA stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was promoting anymore or whatever happened to him. I know he went to the first Abu Dhabi Combat Club. I booked Francisco Bueno in the very first Abu Dhabi Combat Club.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
I have those on VHS. That's how long it was. And they're all bootlegs, of course. I didn't pay you guys.
You get all the old K1s on VHS.
Yeah.
Now you can find everything on you. Ernesto Hoos told me the worst day of his life was when Bob Sapp beat him. He goes, because I wanted to be a 4-time K1 champion because nobody had ever done it before.
Yeah.
And I can't believe Bob Sapp
yeah. 30 seconds, Bob Sapp. After that. But if you catch it at 30 seconds, you're in big trouble.
That guy is so steroided up over there. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was like one of the first guys to be thrown out of the NFL for steroids.
Yeah.
I think he played for who did he play for? The Vikings or somebody, whoever it was. Yeah.
They're all on. I mean, they're all enhancers. They can even say something so stupid. So the guy, you tell me they're not all doing it.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah.
You gotta play the rules enough so you don't get caught. You gotta you can't
exactly.
Here in Nevada, years ago, look what happened to Nick Diaz. They banned him for like 5 years for failing a drug test for marijuana. Well, now they raised the level of THC that's allowed in your system because everybody smokes weed or uses THC or CBD gummy for pain and stuff and all that. And so they've they don't want to find cocaine or shit in your body, but they've raised the level of THC that's allowed to be in your blood for taking a blood test now.
That's crazy because they suspended him for 3 years, and then a guy pop off for steroids and he gets 1.5 years. So it was worse to smoke weed than do steroids.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, that ruined Nick Diaz's career, and that was the end of his career. They banned them in Nevada for 5 years, 5 years. And of course, if Nevada bans you, New York's going to ban you, California's going to ban you, all the major commissions are going to ban you.
Yeah.
But, now it's, is what it is.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on. And Ange, if you want to like promote all your shows, like every show you have, I would love to have you on and talk with you and like try and sell these shows. And I really want to help push your show. Like you helped me develop as a fighter and like my guys and the guys before me. And I want to give back to the community. I want to make sure Buffalo knows that you're still around and like everything that you've done for the community. And I appreciate you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me on too.
I think you need to get more appreciation, and we love Charlie. Charlie comes on all the time. He's awesome.
Thanks for having me.
All your disco fans always watch all our shows. So every time that you're on, dude, our viewership goes way up.
Did you see the podcast I did?
Which one?
The DJ podcast.
I saw some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh, watch the whole thing. You'll piss your pants. No names were changed to protect the innocent. Oh, it's almost 2 hours long. The Road Podcast. It's the Road Podcast, which is a great series of DJ podcasts, by the way. It's done here in Vegas. My buddy DJ Crooked and DJ Eddie. Anyway, Anderson Paak's been on them, and they waited a year to get me on. Try to get me on. It's called The Road Podcast, Reflections of a DJ, episode 282. You'll love this. You'll love this podcast.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure we plugged it last time you were on. I'll put it in the header this time too.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, you got anything you want to plug, Mr. Castricone?
Nope, I'm good. Again, I appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime you want me on, I'm here.
All right, we'll get you. I want to get you every show. I want to like promote. I want to try and promote all the shows in Buffalo.
Yeah,
except for
share the posters, everything.
I'll promote yours.
Oh, good, nice. I appreciate that.
Ray, you got anything to promote?
No, just a show in April 6th. And next year we're doing our show in September, another one in November.
I got a guy for September. I got a 35er. He'll be ready by then. He's like one of those guys to talk about, like didn't have a lot of talent, showed up early. He's starting to get it. By September he'll be ready to fight. He's not ready by April, but he'll be ready by September.
Nice.
And,
like I say, those are the guys you like to train, you like to work with, because they're listening, they're learning, they're appreciate what's going on.
Yeah, Tractor's the man. We nicknamed him Tractor. He doesn't drive a tractor or anything, but we just call him Tractor. And
he's not farm fed, is he?
No, he's not. He's a photographer. He's like the most city guy ever. That's why they call him Tractor. It's just kind of fit. He wears bandanas. He looks old. He looks like he's like 36. He's got shoulder hair. He looks dumpy. And he's looking a lot better now that he's been training. But he was 19, dude, and I thought he was like 36, but now he's yeah. No, he looks better now though. And now he's got a good round kick. His punching's coming along. He's still having trouble defending himself a little bit and gets backed up. And by the time he's ready to fight, he'll be good, dude. He's one of the guys. Aaron.
We'll get him on there.
Hackley.
We'll get him on
Aaron Hackley. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Ray, you got anything to plug?
No. Oh, hey, Charlie, when you coming back to Buffalo?
My usual trip in the summer, usually second week in July for Old Home Days in Williamsville, and November for the world's largest disco. Of course.
We gotta get together. I gotta treat you to some pizza.
I was gonna say that before we left. Yeah, we gotta get together again. We had a nice dinner at Desiderios at one time a few years ago.
Yep.
Are you gonna invite me this time, guys? You guys always talk about going out to dinner, and I never get an invite.
Me neither. Wait, me neither. Well, now me and Jeff, we can watch the dinner. We're not gonna invite either one of you.
Let's all get together when Charlie come back home.
Yeah, we should.
This is fun. No, yeah.
I got a promotion that I got to do. I'm sorry, you might want to plug yours because I'm promoting another fight organization right now.
That's all right.
K4 Fighting, when you get your tickets, put in promo code K4 Caveman's Corner, right? That'll give us the money for the ticket sales. And then, like I always do, I'm going to give $400 back to the fighters. I'm rewarding fight of the night. Both guys got $100. Submission night, $100. And knockout night, we gave away $100. Last time we got $200 donated, so we gave away $600. Caveman's Corner, we're always looking to sponsor fighters. You hook us up at our show, and we're gonna give back to your fighters. And so now they gave us a promo code, so it won't cost me $400 every time. Won't give
It's
away
it's a K4 MMA.
No, K4. It's they do Muay Thai and they do K1. The promotion itself is called K4. It's Keith Ferraro.
Right.
He's not been around as long as Mr. Castricone, but he's a cool guy. And we came up white belt to black belt together, so we're like friends, like you guys are. And like I'm sure Keith will work with you, and like I'm sure he'll keep his dates separate from you. And he wants to work and grow the community too. So like I think you guys are really like-minded promoters. So he's more about making money than you are, but like he wants the fights to be great too.
Don't get me wrong, I like making money.
No, we're all making money.
All right, guys, we're gonna take off, fans. Thank you so much for being here. I know
guys.
we're long, but
Again,
if you have
thank
to
you
watch
for
this in
having us.
5 segments, definitely do it. Thank you, guys.